And sweetheart, before I get off this Insta, let me say this. It'll never fucking happen. You can go all of there, everything y'all want to, every witch doctor in the motherfucking world. It'll never fucking happen. Praise be to God. I am who I am because I am who I am. You see, I don't have to go in a room with a bunch of men
to
create my sound, my image, my anything. I am who I am. Take it or fucking leave it. But I put in the motherfucking work.
This is the heartbreaking story of Imani Sharpless, a 26-year-old model and singer whose life was stolen in the most shocking way imaginable. What started as a simple argument over a parking space exploded into a horrifying execution right in broad daylight. But what really went down in those 5 chilling minutes that turned a calm Saturday into a nightmare that shattered multiple families forever? It all began on September 9th, 2023, around 12:15 p.m. Imani and her boyfriend, Cordell McDuffie, pulled into the parking lot of a Home Depot on Nostrand Avenue in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. They were just out running errands. Nothing unusual at all. But within minutes, that normal day twisted into pure chaos. A scene so violent that it would leave one life ended and another scarred forever. The spark? Something unbelievably small. A parking spot. When Cordell and Imani arrived, they saw another driver had slid into the space they were about to take. Witnesses later told police that a short argument broke out between Cordell and the man, 58-year-old Quincy James Davis from Maryland. Voices were raised, tempers flared, but it didn't last long. Cordell decided to let it go, not wanting things to get ugly over something so minor. He walked inside to grab what he needed, leaving Imani waiting inside their Hyundai Sonata. What he didn't know was that Davis wasn't finished. He was boiling with anger, completely unable to let go of that brief confrontation. What came next would be something no one could ever prepare for.
He came out of the car, he was shot in his leg and in his back, and the girl was in the passenger seat. She was slumped back, and her hands and her legs was moving a little.
Davis had allegedly taken the parking spot, gone into the store for a moment, then came back out, waiting like a predator for Cordell to return. He lingered near the lot, eyes locked on the couple's Hyundai, while Imani sat inside completely unaware of the danger creeping up on her. When Cordell finally came back and started driving off, thinking the whole situation was behind them, Davis suddenly moved in toward the driver's side of the car, and that's when everything exploded. According to witnesses, what followed looked like something straight out of a nightmare. Davis allegedly opened fire on the car, spraying bullets like it was a war zone. The sound of shattering glass and twisting metal filled the air. People nearby froze in shock, some screaming, others diving for cover. Cordell was hit several times, bullets tearing into his knee and back. But the worst came for Imani. Sitting in the passenger seat, she was struck directly in the head, the impact instantly devastating. Even though Cordell was bleeding and in pain, his first thought wasn't himself, it was Imani. He turned to her, watching in horror as the woman he loved, his best friend, his peace, went still beside him. The fear and heartbreak in that moment can't be put into words. Seeing the person you love more than anything slip away while you're trapped, injured, and powerless to stop it. After the shooting, Davis took off running down Nostrand Avenue, desperate to disappear. He tossed the gun into a nearby dumpster and ditched his clothes, hoping to erase every trace of what he'd just done. But nothing could hide the horror he left behind.
I have not been the same. I have cried every single day since this has happened.
When Davis ran off, he left behind one major clue, his Mercedes-Benz still sitting in the parking lot. But what cops found inside made the whole case even stranger. Lying there on the seat was a Pennywise clown mask, just like the one from the horror movie I. To this day, no one really knows why it was there. Was it part of some twisted plan or just a random prop tossed in his car? The mystery of that mask still haunts everyone who's heard this story. Meanwhile, Cordell was fighting to stay alive while trying to save Imani. Bleeding heavily and half in shock, he slammed the car into gear and sped off, even going the wrong way down the street in pure desperation. The vehicle was riddled with bullet holes, glass everywhere, metal bent and torn. Witnesses stood frozen as the car screeched to a stop near a pharmacy. Cordell stumbled out, covered in blood, screaming for help, shouting that someone had just shot his girlfriend. Both were rushed to Kings County Hospital in a race against time. Cordell's injuries, though serious, were treatable, but Imani's condition was far worse. She was found unresponsive, with a gunshot wound to her head. Doctors worked around the clock, performing emergency surgery to remove the bullet. For 5 long, torturous days, her loved ones refused to give up hope, praying for a miracle that never came. Then came the heartbreak no one was ready for. On September 14, 2023, Imani Sharpless passed away at just 26 years old. The pain hit even deeper when Cordell realized that she had died on the same day his father had passed away years before.
Stuy, police are investigating a double shooting in Brooklyn yesterday that escalated from a dispute over a parking spot. One person was left in critical condition.
A cruel, tragic twist that left him shattered beyond words. To really feel the weight of what was lost that day, you have to know who Imani Sharpless truly was. Not just the headlines calling her an aspiring model shot over a parking space. That label doesn't even begin to capture the beautiful, vibrant person she was. Imani wasn't just chasing dreams. She was living with passion, love, and light that everyone around her could feel the moment she walked in. Born around 1997, Imani was pure Brooklyn through and through. She grew up surrounded by family and love, raised by her mother, Alverna Sharpless, and her grandmother, who both poured everything into her. She lived with her grandma in Bedford-Stuyvesant, where neighbors described her as kind, grounded, and always smiling. Deeply connected to her community, Imani worked as a teacher's aide at an after-school program at Brownsville Elementary School, giving her time and energy to helping kids grow and feel supported. People who saw her in that classroom said she had a way with children that couldn't be taught. Her smile made the whole room glow, and her patience made every kid feel seen and safe. But Imani's ambitions didn't stop there. She had huge dreams. She was all about fashion, art, modeling, and music, pouring her heart into every creative project she touched. Her mom, Alverna, couldn't stop showing off her daughter's music videos at work, smiling with pride every single time someone said, "Wow, your daughter's got talent." Imani wasn't just dreaming, she was doing. She was taking classes to sharpen her creative skills, determined to turn her passion for modeling, music, and art into a full-blown career.
Police and witnesses say 2 parties were fighting in the parking lot of a Home Depot when all of a sudden shots rang out. 2 people were hit and that shooter is still on the run.
She wasn't waiting for luck to find her. She was out there grinding every single day, building the life she could see so clearly in her mind. Every move she made was about progress, about turning that vision into reality. At her side through it all was her boyfriend, Cordell McDuffie, who was in his mid-30s. The two had been together for years, not just dating, but truly building something solid. They were already planning their next step, fixing up an apartment so they could finally move in together and start that new chapter they'd been dreaming about. Cordell had 2 young sons who meant the world to him, and Imani was becoming part of that family too. He called her his best friend, his rock, his peace, the person who always knew how to lift him when life got heavy. When Imani was taken, it didn't just break Cordell's heart, it shattered her entire world of loved ones. Her mother, Alverna, who had raised her only daughter with endless love and pride, was left trying to comprehend the impossible. Friends described Imani as a bright spirit who always had a smile on her face. One friend even wrote on Facebook while Imani was still in the hospital, begging for a miracle, saying she had just talked to her yesterday. The pain was raw, unreal, a reminder that someone so full of life, so full of light, could be gone in an instant. One of Imani's neighbors, Kenika Mobley, remembered her as gentle, respectful, and soft-spoken, someone who carried herself with calm energy and kindness. Kenika said Imani had a bright future ahead of her, and everyone who met her could feel that she was destined for something special.
Police searched the inside of this white sedan riddled with bullet holes on the corner of Willoughby and Nostrand Avenue in Bed-Stuy, where witnesses say just after noon Saturday, they saw the panicked driver going the wrong way down the street.
He pulled up over there by the pharmacy right there. And he came out of the car and on the phone and he was talking about somebody shoot his girl, but he didn't even say that he got shot too, which he did get shot in his leg and in his back.
After the tragedy, Jessica Murphy, one of Alverna's co-workers, set up a GoFundMe to help the family with hospital bills and funeral costs. In the campaign description, Murphy wrote that if Imani was anything like her mom, she knew she was full of energy, life, love, and passion. Those words painted the perfect picture of who Imani truly was, a creative soul bursting with music, art, and heart. The fundraiser became more than just a donation page. It was a tribute to a young woman whose light had touched so many. On September 23, 2023, Loved ones gathered at New Frontier Baptist Church in Brooklyn to say their final goodbyes. The church was filled with tears, music, and memories. Cordell was there too, visibly broken, crying as he said goodbye to the woman who had been his world, his best friend, his everything. The pain on his face said it all. What makes Imani's story so painfully tragic is how normal that day began. She wasn't out doing anything risky or reckless. She was just sitting in her car, waiting for her boyfriend while he ran a quick errand at Home Depot. No argument, no crime, no threat. Just a peaceful afternoon that turned into a nightmare no one could have ever seen coming. Imani was nothing more than an innocent bystander, caught in the middle of an argument she had absolutely nothing to do with, and she ended up paying the ultimate price with her life.
Police say the two victims were shot over a dispute for a parking spot. The male victim was hit once in the right knee. The female victim was found unresponsive and unconscious with a gunshot wound to the head.
It hurt my stomach.
Cordell McDuffie was left to pick up the shattered pieces of everything they'd built together. His days now revolve around therapy, both physical and emotional, just trying to function after the trauma he survived. He's got 2 young sons who still need their dad, but even he admits that a huge part of him died that day with Imani. In his own words, "She took a large part of me with her when she left." While Imani's family was drowning in grief and Cordell was trying to survive one day at a time, everyone wanted answers. Would the man who did this ever face justice? The NYPD didn't waste any time. They collected witness statements, pulled surveillance footage from the Home Depot, and pieced together the timeline. Between that, the abandoned Mercedes and the discarded gun, detectives locked in on one name: Quincy James Davis. Davis was described as about 5 feet 6 inches, 160 pounds, with a dark complexion. At the time, he was last seen wearing a red hoodie, white shirt, and black jeans. After more than 2 weeks on the run, on September 26, 2023, 17 days after the shooting and 12 days after Imani's death, police finally arrested him in Brooklyn. When word reached Imani's mother, Alverna Sharpless, she said she felt very, very relieved. For the first time since that terrible day, it seemed like justice might finally be within reach, that maybe, just maybe, Imani's family could start to see accountability for the pain that changed their lives forever.
Police are still searching for the shooter, described as a man 5 foot 6 inches tall, 160 pounds, last seen wearing a red hat, white shirt, and black jeans.
Condition in the hospital has now died. Police say Imani Sharpless was shot in the head after that argument over a parking spot. Happened around noon on Saturday in Bed-Stuy. A 35-year-old man was shot in the knee and survived. No arrests have been made.
By October 20th, 2023, things took a major turn. Quincy James Davis was officially indicted by a grand jury, and the charges were no joke. He faced second-degree murder, attempted murder, first-degree assault, and second-degree weapons possession. If convicted on the top charges, he could spend 25 years to life behind bars. He was ordered to be held without bail, and Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez released a statement calling Imani's death senseless, saying it had left her family completely heartbroken. Davis, a 58-year-old man from Gwynn Oak, Maryland, wasn't new to the system. Reports described him as an ex-convict with a criminal history that stretched back decades. Records show he'd already served time. One case from 1986 for robbery and weapons possession, which got him 2 years, and another in 1993 for stolen property, earning him another 2 years behind bars. Yet somehow, after all that, he was in Brooklyn that day. And to this day, no one knows why. What brought him there? Why that Home Depot? Those questions still hang in the air, unanswered. But then, the story took an unexpected twist that nobody saw coming. Months after the shooting, while Davis was sitting in jail waiting for trial, he somehow managed to reach out to Alverna Sharpless, Imani's mother. And here's the shocking part. She actually responded.
Community is relieved after the NYPD arrested the man they say is responsible for shooting 2 people in a Home Depot parking lot.
Police arresting 58-year-old Quincy Davis and charging him with murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Authorities say he shot 26-year-old Imani Sharpless and her boyfriend on September 9th over a parking dispute at the Home Depot on Willoughby Avenue and Sanford Street. Both Sharpless and her boyfriend were taken to the hospital. She tragically died from injuries.
What followed wasn't anger or screaming matches. Instead, something unbelievably strange began to develop between them. an unlikely bond started forming between the accused killer and the mother of the woman he was charged with murdering. A connection so unusual that it left everyone who heard about it completely stunned. In a twist that no one could have imagined, Davis and Alverna Sharpless began having regular phone calls from jail, and not the kind filled with anger or shouting. Instead, they actually prayed together. During those conversations, Davis has repeated the same claim over and over. "I did not mean to do it." He insists the shooting wasn't intentional, something that Alverna has chosen to process in her own way. For her, those talks have somehow become a strange source of peace in the middle of unbearable pain. She explained it clearly: "I could not allow this to kill me as well." Instead of letting hatred consume her, Alverna decided to face her grief through faith, to find meaning in the unthinkable. By talking to the man accused of taking her daughter's life, she's trying to make sense of her loss in a way that doesn't destroy her spirit. It's an extraordinary show of grace, one that not everyone understands. Some people call it forgiveness, others see it as a coping mechanism, and many just can't wrap their heads around how she finds the strength to even speak to him. But for Alverna, this is how she keeps herself alive, how she survives the unsurvivable. Yet beneath all that emotional complexity, both Alverna and Davis share a mutual frustration: the endless delay of justice. As of January 19th, 2024, the case was still stuck in the discovery phase, crawling through the slow machinery of the court system. Time dragged on as procedural delays and backlogs stacked up, a frustratingly common issue in New York City's overwhelmed courts.
I see them bring him out, and it was the sound of his voice that really was the thing that I think moved me the most.
Then, on July 11th, 2025, came an announcement that left everyone, from Imani's grieving family to Davis's defense, completely stunned and angry. The judge revealed that the trial date would once again be postponed, this time all the way to fall 2025. Another painful reminder that justice, no matter how badly people need it, can move agonizingly slow. Here's the wild part: it wasn't even the trial itself that got postponed. It was just the setting of the trial date. They couldn't even get a day on the calendar. Both Alverna Sharpless and Quincy Davis were in court that day, and both made it clear they were tired of waiting. Davis even showed up with a cane, claiming his health had taken a hit while being locked up. But for Alverna, that didn't matter. What mattered was that after 2 years, she was still standing there with no answers, no closure, and no justice. And that's exactly where things still stand today. No public reports of a trial date, no word of a plea deal, no hint of any real resolution. Over 2 years have passed since Imani was killed, and her family is still waiting to finally face the man accused of taking her life. Sadly, in New York City, this kind of delay isn't rare. Court backlogs have become a massive problem, with homicide cases often dragging on for years before ever reaching trial. But just because it's common doesn't make it any less heartbreaking. Every delay is another day Imani's loved ones have to wake up without closure. Every postponement feels like another failure of a system that promises justice but keeps pushing it further away. And Imani's case isn't some isolated tragedy. It's part of a disturbing pattern that's becoming all too real across the country. Parking lot arguments turning violent, even deadly, are happening more often than people realize. Back in July 2018, there was the shooting of Marquise McLaughlin in Clearwater, Florida, where Michael Draca shot an unarmed black man over a handicapped parking spot. Draca was later convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 20 years in prison. It's shocking to think lives are being destroyed over something as simple as a parking space. There was also the February 2019 killing of former NFL player Anthony T.J. Cunningham in Aurora, Colorado, shot and killed by his neighbor during an argument, again over a parking space. The shooter was convicted of second-degree murder, another life destroyed over something that never should have gone that far. And perhaps the most chilling parallel to Imani's story was the June 2023 Annapolis, Maryland mass shooting, where Charles Robert Smith opened fire at a birthday party, shooting 6 people and killing 3, all over yet another parking dispute. Even now, that case is still tangled up in mistrials and appeals well into late 2025. These stories all have the same heartbreaking thread running through them: tiny, everyday arguments that should have ended with people walking away, somehow twisting into acts of deadly violence. Why? Because of rage, because of easy access to guns, and because too many people treat minor disrespect like it's something worth killing over. Imani Sharpless was never supposed to be part of a story like this. She was a teacher's aide who loved working with kids, an artist chasing her dreams, a daughter, a girlfriend, and a friend who had so much life left to live. She was just 26 years old, sitting in a car, doing absolutely nothing wrong. And she lost everything because someone couldn't handle losing a parking spot. What do you think about this heartbreaking case? Should there be tougher laws? Or is it deeper than that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment below. It helps more people hear Imani's story and keeps the conversation about justice alive.